Stand by 1 second. How's it going? Okay, guys, back. What's going on? We are getting ready to finish our leg in the North Atlantic. We're going to leave Iceland and we are headed to Glasgow. Let's get out of the North Atlantic. Let's leave Iceland and Reykjavik behind, and let's get this show on the road. First off, let's just take a look around and see what's going on out here. We got our engine started. We got our lights on the ground. It's not a bad looking evening. So let's see what we can get into, right? All right, let's go back inside. Let's go back inside and let's take a look at all of our panels. Right, let's make sure everything looks good. All right, what do we got up there? We got our manual fuel on. We have all our autopilot switch on. We've got all of our lights on, of course. Panel lights are good. I might turn our panel lights up a little bit. There you go. Turn those up a little bit. And then down here we are looking at our runway where we are, sitting right there. You can see our little purple plane. So we are planning to take off on runway 19 and make our way. So that being said, let's go back over to our map. Let's get our map up there. Let's take a look at what our flight plan is going to look like. That's what it's going to look like. There's a whole bunch of waypoints on there, but that's where we're going to go. We're going to make that jump, and let's get to Scotland, huh? And let's start going down the European coast, head south. So that being said, let's zoom back out here so we can kind of see what's going on. There's how we're gonna depart, and from there, let's make sure that our inertial separator is on. We get some pitot heat in here. Just because it's calling for it. And then let's look at our switches over here. Oh, come on. Cut that off. I'm trying to get rid of my yoke. There it is. Alright. Alright, everything looks good. Everything looks good. Alright, that being said, let's get taxi lights on, and let's kick this parking brake off, and let's get this show on the road. Nobody over there? Alright. Let's head down here to runway 19. Be glad to get out of the North Atlantic. Took a long time, a lot of miles to get from Canada over here. Got fuel, right? Yep. Flaps are set for takeoff. Okay. Don't have anything on the lights. Oh, I can do that for you guys. You guys can't see that, can you? Let's go ahead and enable that camera so you can see that. All right. Viper Strike 95. How you doing? Welcome. We are just getting ready to leave Reykjavik on our way to Glasgow, Scotland. Finally going to get out of the North Atlantic and get into Europe so we can start flying down the coast. Alright, I don't see anybody down there. Do I got anybody coming up there? Nope, I don't got anybody coming in. Okay, we're looking good. Alright, let's get out here on the runway. Good. I'm glad you're doing well. Glad you're doing well. All right, here we are on runway 19. And we'll do a final check and make sure everything's good. All the temperatures look good. I got fuel, battery, volts, amps, flaps in the takeoff position. The rudder, I could probably move the rudder a little bit because the rudder is not centered necessarily. All right, it's in a position where I want it to be. And everything else looks good. I don't see any traffic on the TCAS display. Our flight plan is in. It looks good. Oh, hello. Let's go ahead and get an altitude in here. All right. We're going to hit 9,000 and let's go ahead and get our heading set on runway 19 in case we need to fly a heading. And let's get our taxiway lights off. Let's get our runway lights on. Let's come back down over here, and it sounds like I hear another airplane. Do I hear somebody else back here? No? Man, it sure sounds like another airplane, didn't it? All right, everything looks good. Everything looks set. Everything is double checked, and we are gonna be good to go. So let's go ahead and release our brakes and let's get this show started. All right, airspeed is alive. Woo! Stay on the runway. Pay attention to what you're doing. All right, there we go. Rotate. All right, we got a positive rate of climb. Landing gear is coming up. All right, flaps are coming up. Yaw damper's on, nav is on, and autopilot is on. Go ahead and set my vertical speed. Go ahead and start climbing. And 3012. All right, looks like a thing. Oh, I didn't set my, I did not do this. I forgot. to set that. Backup instruments. 3012 was the altimeter setting. So I got that set on the backup instruments. And we are climbing away. Get our speed, our torque pulled back to about 90, and we'll reduce our prop RPM to about 1950. Oops, no, not that much. There we go. All right, looks good, looks good. Here we go, guys. We are going to leave Iceland behind. Goodbye, Reykjavik. There's Reykjavik in the background as we leave it behind, headed for Scotland. Got a little bit of weather, not much. Outside temperature 47 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not bad. I'm excited. Woohoo! Finally going to be out of the North Atlantic. Going to be out of the North Atlantic and into Europe in just a few hours. That's going to be cool, because for the last couple of weeks we haven't seen much of anything as we've been crossing the North Atlantic, going up the coast of Canada. Ever since we left Halifax, went up to Goose Bay, went up past that into Greenland, and then across Greenland over to Iceland, and then now we're on our last part of finally getting out of the frigid north. See, check all our instruments. Flaps look good. Temps look good. Everything looks good. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I almost got the track IR dialed in perfectly so that when I look at my instruments, which are right here, when I look at my MFD, which I'm pointing at on my instrument display, I'm looking at it. You guys are looking at it over there. When I look at this, you guys can see it there. When I look at this, you guys can see that there. When I look outside, when I look at the only thing that's not 100% is the autopilot panel, because I have the autopilot panel directly above my my PFD, and the actuality is it's right there. So when I'm looking at my autopilot panel, it's actually right there. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead and, in a couple minutes, let's add some altitude up in here. We'll take it up to 23,000. A little bit of sunshine out there on the horizon. That's pretty though. That's pretty. Look at that. Soon we will be leaving the coast behind. Hey Ty, how you doing tonight? Nice seeing you again. Appreciate you being here. We are flying out of Iceland. Finally. We're going to go to Glasgow. Oh, we actually have a little trek to go. If I pop that up so you guys can see Sim Toolkit. We actually have a good little bit to go across Iceland before we make the turn and head towards Scotland. Got a little bit of a interesting flight plan there with a couple dog legs in it, but instead of flying a direct route, which is okay. The weather looks pretty good over there as well. Winds are 030 at 3 knots. Before I left, it was variable at 3 knots, so now they're coming out of 030. And doesn't look to be too bad. Does not look too bad at all. Come back over here to our live map. That is our flight plan over there, and windy. Windy has a little bit of a crosswind. So when we leave, we're going to have a lot of crosswind right here when we come off. But when we get down here, we're going to have a crosswind for a pretty good portion of the way that's going to bother us. But as we get closer in, we'll have like no wind, a little bit of a tailwind, and then we'll have no wind for the most part, which it said 030, but that's not bad. Not bad at all. Cool, cool. Looking pretty good. So everything there is looking pretty good. Don't really see anything that's going to give us any grief. So it looks pretty good. Yep. Should be pretty good. No weather or anything like that. So I didn't know there was all these mountains up here though. Huh. Interesting. Oh, the sky is great, isn't it? Let me get rid of this so you. There we go. Yeah, the sky is really, really nice. Look at that. That's beautiful. That is really, really beautiful. Oh, we're above 10,000 feet, so I'll go ahead and nix the landing lights. Don't need those anymore. Yeah, I'm doing well, Ty. Doing well. I know. Just absolutely amazing. That is just absolutely amazing. And the stars too, right? I mean, look at the transition. Excuse me. Look at the transition to the night sky. That's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. The reflections off the aircraft. Look at the sky. Look at the sky reflecting off the aircraft. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is very, very cool. There's where it kind of just stops right there. There you go, like that. That's beautiful. I do. I do have a cockpit panel. That's what's on this camera right here. So this is a 22-inch Asus touchscreen, and the software is called Air Manager by Sim Innovations, and the instruments that are on here, you see the Garmin 710 autopilot, which is the Garmin 710 autopilot in the aircraft, and the barometer knob right here, which is the barometer knob, and the backup attitude indicator, and the 580, and the G3000 suite. This is the PFD, and then the parking brake is right down here in the corner. And then the two master caution and master warning indicator lights are here, and all these work, right? So I wrote the software for these instruments, and I developed these and essentially replicated them off of the existing instruments in the aircraft. So the 710 really looks like the 710, and if I go inside and we look at like pilot instruments, right? So if I go look at this, and if you pay attention to like the barometer here, right? And then you watch like my screen here, if I touch this knob, right, you see it turn yellow, and then I have a thing down here that's an encoder. It's a dual encoder with a push button on it. And if I turn the encoder knob, see, look, it changes my barometer, right? And then the same thing with the altitude knob. So if I touch the altitude knob and then I rotate the encoder, the outside portion, it changes it by 1,000-foot increments like this. And if I do the inside portion, it changes it by 100-foot increments. And then that is the same with like the 710. So if I come over here and do like a center cluster view, right, where I see the 710 right here, what you see, hold on a second, let me get a flashlight. Bink. what you see right there, that's exactly what I have on my screen here. So the barometer knob that you see is actually over here to the side, because on the 930 there's two barometer knobs, one for pilot, one for co-pilot. I only need one, so I have the barometer knob right here. And then that 710, is right here. So here's my flight level change, my speed knob, my directional, my up and down for my vertical speed, the vertical mode where you control your speed versus your altitude, and then my altimeter, or the altitude hold button, and then my altitude knob, you saw that, yaw damper. The only difference that I have is, you see that knob that's right in the middle, it says transfer, XFIR. There's no reason for me to have that. So the knob that's up above that says LVL, that's level. So when you hit that button, it levels the flight. Well, what I did on mine is I set that here in the middle. Instead of having the XFIR button, I moved that LVL button down to its position. But everything else, is the same. So like when I touch again my heading button, and I come over here and I turn my heading knob, see, it turns the blue heading indicator, on my thing. So like everything is functional. And even on the 580, like right here, the 580 essentially controls both the PFD and the MFD depending on the selector. So each of these buttons, if you press this one, it's PFD, this one's MFD, and this is your nav and radios. But like if I can touch it, right, and I can switch it like over to PFD, and then I can switch it over to MFD, and then I can touch those things, and of course like this is the zoom. So when I rotate my knob, it zooms everything in or out. Or if I go up here to PFD and then I go over there and I hit zoom, it zooms in my TCAS in and out. So yeah, everything here is fully functional. Yeah, flight level change. Hey, Colonel Fork is in the house. Awesome. Thank you, Colonel Fork, for coming and hanging out. Yeah, so everything works. And then the brake, if I flip the brake, right, which is right there, that's the brake knob. So I have that brake knob, it's right here. Oops, I can turn it on like that, on or off. And then there's the master cautions I have, and the master warning. I have both of those knobs here. And that's essentially all I need for the immersion of the flight. Now, in regards to, let me turn my flashlight off. In regards to the rest of the instruments here, this is a G1000, and I actually built this. I fabricated it. I have a resin printer, so I went to Garmin. I went to the Garmin website and I got the dimensions for a G1000, and I built this myself. It's driven by an Arduino, and the logic in the Arduino sketch sends the commands to the API for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So all my buttons here work. So when I'm flying a plane that has a G1000 in it, this is actually a G1000. So my AP, flight director, heading, altitude hold, nav buttons, VNV, approach, back course, all those buttons actually function, as do the buttons across the bottom of the screen, all 12 of the soft touch buttons. And then on the other side I have my direct to and everything, but I've got a bunch of encoders on here just like you have on a G1000, so I can tune my nav radios, change my heading, tune my comm radios, set my course or my barometer. The FMS control knob is down there, altitude knob is over here as well. Now this plane doesn't have a G1000 in it, it has a G3000 suite in it. The only difference between the two is the G3000 does not have any of those buttons on the bezel of the unit itself, because all of those functions are driven by the GTC 580s down here. So only thing that I need over here is the 12 soft touch buttons, which are on the bottom of the 530. So when I'm flying a plane that has a 3000 suite in it, just my soft touch buttons work on this device. And then below that I have a Logitech radio stack, so I can physically tune my COM1, COM2 nav radios, transponder if I need it. Of course, the transponder is controlled here from the 580, but if I could go over here and tune my transponder, my nav 1, my nav 2, I could set my altitude or anything like that, and then I have the honeycomb alpha yoke, and then a honeycomb bravo, and the Cytec rudder pedals, on the floor. And I've got that all built into a case. If you go on my Discord channel, you can see where I built the instrument panel. I fabricated the instrument panel to hold all this, and then you can see kind of how it's all set up and what it looks like and all that. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. You'd be thrilled with the GNS 530. I mean, the things are not people. Well, I mean, I have a maker shop, right? So I have a lot of resources that allow me to fabricate things like this. But outside of the actual fabrication, doing this stuff is not hard. Like, there's no reason why just because you don't have a 3D printer or a resin printer, either one, why you couldn't cut plexiglass and make a frame out of plexiglass and and drill holes in it to mount encoders and stuff like that, or make one out of wood. Even if you don't do that, make one out of a thin piece of veneer or something like that and do the same thing. Fabricate some kind of a frame like that and just paint it, or you don't even, like for wood or something like that, a lot of people paint it and it still looks like wood. Well, the trick to that is to go buy like fiberglass resin, right? And before you spray paint it black, you mix up some fiberglass resin and you take a paintbrush and you just paint the wood with resin. Just resin. Don't worry about the fiberglass mat. Just paint it with resin. Or epoxy. Or buy 2-part epoxy. Mix some up and paint it with epoxy. Set it outside and let it dry. And it'll be like a piece of glass when you're done. And then you spray paint it, put a little bit of primer on it, sand it a little bit if you have any weird spots in it, and then spray paint it, and you'll get the same result, and it'll look great. But there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of resources out there that. Can you see the screen above the equipment? What screen are you talking to? Just trying to see your view without the cockpit window. What do you mean? Do you not want to see? You want me to make that go away? Or that? Or what I see when I'm sitting here. Yeah, that what I'm looking at is out here in front of me. So if that's what you're trying to get at, that's my screens right there. If that's what you were referencing. Yeah, so out in front there's two 27-inch screens, and then here, and then I've got this instrument panel table that has this stuff mounted on it, and this instrument panel is movable, so I pick this up, right? So like I can pick this up and like move it out of the way, and it's on like a 7-foot or 8-foot USB cable, and I basically, it's got handles on each side of it. I basically pick it up and move it away from the desk, and I set it like right here over my left shoulder. I've got like a big U-shaped table here that actually has three 27-inch screens on it, and a laptop over there in the corner, and then you saw the blinky red LED over here. That's my gaming PC, and basically all that kind of sits here, and on like a 10-foot or 12-foot U-shaped work center, in the corner. So when I play driving games, when I'm done flight simming, I pick this up and I just move it, set it back right here, and then if I'm playing a keyboard game, I play up there, and if I'm playing, like a different kind of flight sim game where I have a joystick and a throttle, then I'll use that sometimes. Or if I'm playing a racing game, I will. I got a wheel stand that's on the other side of the green screen, and it's got a steering wheel, a shifter, and brake and rudder and clutch pedals and everything all mounted to a stand, and I'll bring that stand up here and I'll plug it into the USB hub and do that. Yeah, it's not a bad setup at all. It's pretty cool. It's functional, right? Yeah. Hey, Ty, you don't know how true that statement is. Because I got a Assetto Corsa, and I've been trying to drive on the racetrack in a Assetto Corsa, and yeah. I'm not a very good racer. Not a very good racer. I struggle on the track. Sometimes I struggle in the air too, but yeah, I struggle in the track. The DC6 has been walloping my behind lately. I'll tell you that right now. I got everything with the DC6 absolutely down pat. So I can get in it. I can start it up, do everything perfect. Take off, taxiing, take off, fly, navigate, control everything perfect. Make my approaches, that's fine. I can do my approaches. I can get to the right airspeed. I can come in and make a good approach to a runway. But when I get on the runway, that me and that DC6 don't get along. It's like wrangling. It's like I got a bull by the horns when I get that thing on the runway. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to. My whole life I've flown aircraft where, that are not radial engine aircraft. And what that really means is that you have a non-radial engine aircraft, you have a lot of control over your throttle or your torque, right? Depending on, the type of aircraft you can fly. Something like this, you'll manage your torque and you'll manage your propeller. In turbo aircraft, you'll manage your throttle and your propeller, for airspeed and stuff like that. But radial engines, you really want to set them. So you have gauges in there, BMEP, and you basically set those, and then you don't touch them. That's the way a radial engine wants to fly. It doesn't want to be reduced to idle, and it doesn't want to be manhandled the way people are used to flying. And I don't fly jets, and never did. But jets, you can manipulate the throttle forwards, backwards, put it in reverse thrust, move it fast, move it slow. Prop engines, they don't like you bursting them all the way to the firewall. you know, or pulling them all the way back, depending on what you have. If a Cessna, you go full throttle pulling it back. If you're, you know, in a Piper or something else, you go full throttle going forward. But you know, you can manipulate them, and again, you can't do that. So the whole concept to me of setting it and then coming in like at a high rate of speed with something that feels kind of small, you know, DC6 feels to me a little bit smaller than like a Airbus A320, and you know, it's different. Like the TBM kind of feels it's smaller than DC6 certainly, but it kind of has a similar feel to me, like when it flies. Plus the DC6 is a pig, man. It's an absolute pig. It just wants to make lazy turns and lazy climbs, and you really need to finesse, you know, the DC6 and it's the landings. The other day I flew with Colonel Fork, and he was in Alaska, and I came in perfect, man. I came in, I was at the right speed, I had my flaps in, the aircraft, the DC6 was fully configured, and you know, I came in, I was on the center line of the runway, you know, I touched the runway, and then you know, it did a bounce, and then it came back down, and it's like it just does not want to shed airspeed, is what I feel like. And you know, after I bounced it and I came back the second time, it was a really short airfield and airstrip, and I was like, nope, I'm just going to go around, and you know, and I went around. But yeah, I practiced last night with the DC6 landing it at Birmingham Airport, Birmingham, Alabama, and I just made like landing after landing after landing after landing, and as I got more things configured, like as I configured the Bravo to do certain things where I don't have to look down, because I think that's one of the gotchas too, because you're flying and you have to look down, and you have to click the thrust reversers, and then you have to look back up, and you know, you got to click them with the mouse, and I found out just today that the thrust reversers on the PMDG DC6 are actually tied to the button, or tied to the event in Microsoft Flight Simulator, to lower the water rudders on a plane that has floats, of all things. So I'm going to configure, I do fly float planes, and I have you know, a switch that I configure for the water rudders to lower the water rudders, and I'm going to remap that over to the throttle so I don't have to look down. So as I'm coming down, you know, I can just hit a button, you know, on the throttle, and throw the reversers in, and being able to do that. I think that's going to help too, to slow the plane down. But yeah, it doesn't have very good brakes. It's big, it's heavy, it lands real fast. You know, the thing wants to land at like 120 knots, and you know, and it's just a behemoth. It takes forever to slow it down, and that's just something I'm really not used to. Parrot 66, my friend, how are you doing? Very good to see you here tonight. Good evening, as I've been sitting here talking about, you know, some of the things that that flying the DC6, actually. Talking about my panel here. Ty was asking about the panel, and we were talking about that, and then talking about things like the DC6, but I'm gonna have to start flying the Warrior too, since Just Flight actually has my Warrior. How crazy is that, huh? Parrot, do you have your coffee mug? Yes. I saw that this morning, that they went ahead and did that. Now you can pre-download it now, right? But it's not going to be active until next week. They're just giving people an opportunity to get it loaded up ahead of time, and then it'll be activated on next Tuesday. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You got it downloaded, so you got the jump, man. When they flip that switch, you're going to be in the air. You're going to stay up until they do it, aren't you? I would. Although it'd be interesting what happens on the servers. So I'm gonna pop over here to my MFD and let's zoom in a little bit here. All right, we have left land. So Iceland is going to be behind us, and let's take a look there. Say goodbye to Iceland. There it is. Bye-bye, Iceland. Next stop, Greenland. Oh, shit. I'm not going backwards. Next stop, Scotland. Scotland shall be the next stop. Glasgow. Man, well, as you're aware, I have a lot of hours in a Warrior. I love it. The Warrior to me was the most fun aircraft that that I've flown in, like a general aviation aircraft. It's you don't have a lot of the complexities that come with other aircraft that are considered complex, right? Where you don't have a prop to manage. All you have is throttle and mixture. That's it. Those are the only controls that you have. What made that aircraft so fun for me years and years ago, when I was putting countless number of hours on a Warrior, was the fact that everybody back then was flying a 152 or 172. That was the most popular aircraft that you could get to rent. Everybody wanted to rent 150s, 152s, and 172s. The reason that people like renting them is because they're good for sightseeing, and people that typically rent aircraft, they want to go see stuff. So here I'm going to do a demonstration here with the TBM. If I'm in a Warrior or an Arrow, a low wing aircraft, just like the TBM, and I go somewhere and I fly over something and I want to take a picture, and I look out the window, look, I got a wing there. I can't take a picture. It's a pain in the butt. I have to take, a picture out like this. I can't take one like this. So when you have a 4-seat aircraft with a low wing, the passengers that are behind you, they're looking out at the wing. Just like you're looking at the leading edge of the wing, they're looking at the trailing edge of the wing. So you lose a lot of visibility. So people like high wing aircraft. It's good. It's good for scenery. Everybody wants to go fly, and they always want to look out like this, right? Personally, I also have a lot of time in 150s, 152s, and 172s. I have a lot of time in 150s and 152s doing acrobatics, most notably spins. And one of the things that I did when I was flying was I was a spin instructor, and I would take people up and demonstrate putting an aircraft into a spin and recovering from it. And one of the things that I really don't like about a Cessna is I don't like this, right? I don't like throttles and mixtures like this. For some reason, I don't like that whole push-pull thing. I don't like it. The Cessnas, for you guys that have not flown them, you pull the throttles, like the throttle manipulates in and out, and then they turn. So you can do fine tuning, so you can get the throttle to like a certain point, that's close, or the mixture to something close, and then to fine tune it, you turn it, you rotate it. And I just don't, I don't know. I just don't like it. It's just not my preference. The first time I ever got in a Warrior and I went to go get checked out in one, I was like, holy cow, the Warrior has a throttle. It has a throttle like this. That's awesome. It's got a throttle that moves forwards and backwards. Forwards go faster, backwards go slower. This is the coolest thing since sliced bread. And it just seemed like such a nicer aircraft. It seemed like a big boy airplane to me when I first started flying them, and I really liked them. The other thing about a Warrior or a low wing aircraft is you can really make some beautiful, amazing landings in a low wing aircraft. It's hard to slam a low wing aircraft into the ground, believe it or not. The reason is because you keep a cushion of air under the wing, so as the aircraft is coming down towards the runway, you're traveling forward, right? And you have air traveling over the wings, and you're traveling forward and you're coming down, so it's just, imagine water, right? If you're pushing water forward with like a surfboard, if you put a surfboard out in front of you and you push it forward, you're going to push a wave in front of you. You're pushing air the same way. If you push it forward and push it down, you're going to create a bigger wave. And you do that with air as well. As that low wing aircraft comes down, the Cessna does it too. Ooh, I just hit my camera. The Cessna does it too, but it can't create a good cushion of air because the wing is so high off the ground, right? It's like 6 feet off the ground. You can walk underneath it. A Warrior, the wing is like 2.5 feet off the ground. So they tend to float a lot. When people come from a Cessna and they get into a Warrior, they tend to have more difficulty trying to get the airplane on the ground because they tend to float a little bit. And I like that because I've been known to do weird shit in airplanes. Look at me, go figure, right? I like to land on grass strips, and I like to land on small runways. Like there's a bunch of us when I was flying out of Atlanta. We would go over to PDK, and I had my Warrior at PDK, and Epps Aviation is where we used to keep it over there and get it. But we used to have competition with the flight school there. I was really good friends with a lot of the instructors and stuff, and we would have these competitions where I would tend to go out sometimes and fly with them. Like they would go take a student up, and I would just go fly. I would just go take the Warrior, and I would just go fly. They would go somewhere, and I'd fly around with them. So we had, just like in the game here, you have 2 aircraft or multiple aircraft. We would do that kind of stuff all the time. They would go fly somewhere, an instructor with a student, and I would go fly. And go fly around to all these different places and land at these different runways. And it made it cool because people that were flying, would fly somewhere out of like from PDK to like Rome or to Stone Mountain or to like Blairsville up north, or Jasper or Charlie Brown Airport or Macon or something like that. We would fly around all these places because as they're training, and there's always really nice restaurants and FBOs, so we would sometimes fly there, and then we would land, and then a group of us, like I might take somebody or 2 people, and then it'd be like a student and an airplane, and sometimes it was two aircraft with 2 students and an instructor in each, so that was 4, and then me, and then I would take somebody, and then we would all go, and there'd be like 6 or 8 of us, and you'd go to a restaurant. Hey! Thank you. Super Kick Me has joined the Aviators Club. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Aviators Club. We would all go to the restaurant and like eat lunch. So students would fly there, and we would all land, and we would go have a really good time and hang out and laugh and talk about weird stuff. And then I'd go somewhere and land on a grass strip or do something weird. And I like the Warrior because it could get into some the Warrior can get into some really interesting places. But what I was saying is we used to play this game of who could make the shortest landing, right? So the goal always was to land like at the threshold and exit on the first taxiway. And if you're coming in to the runways at PDK, the first taxiway is like right there. And I made it a lot of times, and sometimes I didn't make it. But yeah, there's we used to do crazy stuff like that, like who could make the shortest landing and exit the runway, or who could make the shortest takeoff. And there was like some really creepy runways and stuff that I flew into around Georgia and Tennessee and Florida and stuff like that were tiny. The weirdest thing I did one time was I thought that I was landing at a grass strip, and I actually landed in the backyard of a farm, and like all these kids came out of the house and they were like, "What the hell? An airplane just landed in our backyard." And the grass was so tall out in the field that I cut it as I came in with my prop. So I came in and all the grass was like cutting, because I flew over it the first time. I came in, I flew over it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, "Yep, I think this is a grass strip. Looks like it right here on the chart." And I went and I flew over it, and I turned around and I came back, and then I flew over it one more time, and I turned around and I came back. I put all the flaps in, bled off all my airspeed and everything. Came in, sat down, grass started flying. I went down to the end, turned around, came back and looked, and there's a nice path like this that's cut like a half moon of where I cut the grass going through. And I sat there and opened the door and got out, and I went and take a look just because I cut grass and I just wanted to check everything. And then all these kids started coming out of the house and all that. And I was with a guy, Brad. Won't tell his last name, but his first name, Brad H. There you go. He's a pilot now for a major airline, and he was with me, and we were flying around to some weird airports together. And when we left, we were like, "Man, all those people came out of that house. They must not get, not too many airplanes must land here anymore." And we took off and we flew around, and when we came back around, we went like 2 miles down, and there was this grass strip that was nice and manicured and everything, and we were like, "Oh, that would be it." So, but yeah, it's fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed every minute of flying around and doing crazy stuff. I still enjoy going places and looking at things. I enjoy airports and airplanes and all that goodness. Flight sims. Well, we've got a little way to go. We have 174 nautical miles to our next waypoint, and our next waypoint is like 2/3 of the way. So we're gonna be here for a minute. But yeah, I like the Warrior. The Warrior is a heap of fun. I was completely blown away today when Fabio broke it out, and I saw the paint job on it, and I was like, "What? That's my paint job." That was funny. All right, let's take a look at some instruments here, and let's see what's going on. I'll look at mine. You can look at those, and everything looks good. Torque is good. Prop speed is good. Temperatures are good. Pressures are good. Here, we can do it like that. Oxygen pressures are good. Fuel is good. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. Minus 22 degrees outside, air temperature, but we don't have any moisture. So, except for pitot heat, I'm going to leave everything else off for right now. Everything looks good. So, Colonel Fork, so far, what's your favorite airplane? What do you enjoy flying the most? And this goes for everybody that's here. Parrot, Ty. Well, I know Parrot hasn't had an opportunity yet, but what do you think you would enjoy flying the most? You know, when you start flying flights, Microsoft Flight Simulator. From what you've seen, what do you think? And do you have any questions relating to those? If I can answer them, I'll do it. Faroe Islands coming up, about 150 nautical miles out in front of us. We can just see them right there coming up. The top, no, well, I'm not going to laugh about that. The Top Rotor 103 intrigues you. What intrigues you the most about that aircraft? There's no right or wrong answer to the question either, by the way. I'll even answer the question as well, but I'll give you guys the opportunity first to tell me, and then I'll tell you what I like. Colonel Fork says, simple fun factor, Corsair. I'm most comfortable in the 152, 172. I'd love a C-175, but no one has ever made one, and I doubt anyone will. Most challenging, the CJ4. Parrot says, low and slow with a great view. Yep. Yep. I don't know if Ty is still here, but Ty hasn't responded yet. But while we wait on Ty, I'll go ahead and give my opinion of what my favorite aircraft are. I really like the X-Cub. The X-Cub to me is a great aircraft. I like it on floats, and I like it with Tundra tires. Based on some things that I said of my real life experience, I like getting into weird places, right? And the X-Cub intrigues me from that standpoint because it's a slow aircraft, and it's very maneuverable, it handles very well, it's very easy to fly, and you can get into some really weird places with the X-Cub. I like that. All right. But also, I love the TBM. Again, I'm a low wing kind of guy, so this is a low wing aircraft. The TBM is exceptionally fast. It's very comfortable. If you ever get to see one in real life, I encourage you to take a look at it because they are some of the most amazing aircraft that you will ever sit in your life. I absolutely love them. They are most certainly the Cadillacs of the sky, and they're very well appointed. They're put together like a Rolls Royce. I mean, the attention to detail and the comfort of a TBM is unmatched in the aviation industry for a single engine turbine driven plane. This is not a turboprop. This is not a piston engine. This is actually a jet engine with a prop on it in the TBM. So you get to cross. You're standing on both sides of the fence at the same time. This does not use avgas. This uses jet fuel because it is a turbine and it is a turbine engine. So you get to fly a jet, but you also have the luxury of a prop. What makes this really, really interesting is when you get your private pilot's license, for those that have it or those that are interested in getting it or would like to get it, you start out with a VFR endorsement, and it's called single engine land. Well, guess what? You can literally fly a TBM on that ticket, right? Because this is single engine, and land just means over land. Like what we're doing now, you're not endorsed to do this. There's other things that you have to learn to fly over water, which you have to carry life jackets, you have to carry a life raft. There's certain things that you have to do and certain things that you have to know that you learn, and then you get that added on. Also, seaplanes, you can get that added on if you want to do that. There's all these different things that you can do, in regards to that and adding on to it. But yeah, this makes this really, really cool. I also am a tech junkie, right? So all this kind of stuff here, I'm all over this. I mean, look, I've got a 22-inch touchscreen in front of me. If I can poke a piece of glass with my finger, then I'm all down for that. And that's what we have here. So I really, really like the TBM. Do I like it more than the X-Cub? No, I like them equally the same. Colonel Forky talked about a CJ4. I actually love the CJ4. Never ever been in one in real life. Have never been in one. The CJ4, because it has something that I'm used to, which is this type of an environment. I actually excelled in that. I fly the CJ4 really, really well, and don't have any issues with it. As a matter of fact, that was the first plane that I flew like all around the U.S. when I got Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, it wasn't the first plane that I flew, because the first one that I flew was something that I was familiar with, and I flew those aircraft, and then I was like, I'll go try CJ4 because I know a little bit about it, but not a lot. I mean, I know what I've read in trade magazines and stuff like that, and stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna try it. It's fast. It has a glass cockpit, stuff that I'm familiar with. The G1000, I'm familiar with it. I get it. I understand it. I'm good with it. So let's go to it. Let's do it. And I was successful in doing that. So the first cross-country kind of flying that I did it in the CJ4. I always leave my home airport of Nashville, and I flew everywhere, all around the U.S., flew it all the way up to Alaska, and started doing that. But I fly what I'm most familiar with, right? And that's stuff like this, like the TBM, right? The 930 and the Cessna 208 Grand Caravan. I fly that. Twin engines I fly as well, and I have some of those that I've purchased that I fly. Like I have a Duchess. I'm familiar with that. The King Air as well. But I don't do that one too much because I don't know. I like it, but I've never really liked the King Air. But I do fly it. So there's a handful of others. I have the Arrow, the Turbo Arrow, because they're like the Piper. Now I have the Warrior, and and I'm gonna start dinking around with that, doing some flying around that. It'll be interesting. I'm probably gonna take the Warrior to PDK, where I flew it, where I put a lot of hours on one, and I'm probably gonna recreate a lot of flights that I did that I really had fun with around around Georgia and Tennessee and Florida and stuff with it. That'll bring back some cool memories. But yeah, I like those. Now the Airbus A320, with me it's like a hit or miss. I'm not really an airline kind of a guy. but I fly it for FedEx. I did put many hours on a 208 Grand Caravan because I'm assigned to the Alaska hub, and I did a lot of flying around there virtually, virtual FedEx assignment to the Alaska hub, and I did a lot of flying for FedEx Virtual in Alaska. Now I'm flying out of Memphis because I'm doing the A320, but so I've been dinking around with that a little bit, but yeah, I kind of like the single dual engine. Now, here's the last thing I want to say about it because I've been taking up a lot of time saying it, but I am really, really interested in like throwback aircraft, like the DC-3, the DC-6. So I'm flying more of those. My dad was an aviator. He was a naval aviator, and he was an aviator for many years. We had airplanes when I was little, and I first started flying with him when I was little, and I first started actually flying with him, like controls of the airplane, probably when I was about 14 or 15, and did a lot of stuff, with him, and then, but he at a time he did some stuff for Douglas. He did some stuff in the Navy. He did some stuff for Douglas. He was familiar with those aircraft as well. And my sister was a stewardess for Pan Am, and so I'm excited to fly the DC-6, and they have the Pan Am skin, so I'm going to fly the DC-6 on Pan Am, and I'm going to recreate. Pan Am was the first airline to fly around the world, and I'm going to recreate their around the world flight, and then I'm going to fly Pan Am routes with the DC-6. I'm kind of excited about that. I just got to learn to fly it. I just got to practice more and keep from bouncing the damn thing down a runway, because if I can't, I'm going to have to wear rabbit ears, and you don't want to see me with bunny ears on, I promise you. To pick up a more performance plane, it has to be the P-38 Lightning. So yeah, I mean I like those too. I like the World War II aircraft. There's something to be said for those go fast prop airplanes. They're pretty cool as well, and I could see that. I could most definitely see that. But anyway, that's what I like. That's what I'm interested in. That's the kind of flying that I'm going to do. That I'm going to stream here and that kind of stuff. The reason why I'm flying around the world at TBM is to see scenery. Right? I want to fly the coast of the world. So we're going to be flying up and down the coast of every country as we go down and up and down and up and down and up until we circumnavigate the globe, and I'm just going to look at stuff that is kind of interesting, and eventually that'll migrate into Pan Am flights with a DC-6 is what this is going to have added to it. Man, look at that sun out there. That is just incredible. Let's go take a look at this, guys. Look at that. That really looks nice right there. Uh-oh. In-flight services has brought cold beverages. No snacks? Cold beverages. Snacks are incoming. Bring the first class basket, please. Oh, I got the first class snacks. Many blueberry muffins. First class, baby. First class. Sergeant Staff, how you doing, dude? It's going pretty good, man. It's going pretty good, my man. We're just looking at the night sky or the sunrise here in the North Atlantic. as we're finally making the final jump from Iceland over to Scotland, and then we'll be in Europe doing the European coast. So it'll be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's going pretty good. Going pretty good. We were just having a little discussion here with the folks in chat about about what aircraft they like to fly and what their favorites are, whether they have Microsoft Flight Simulator or not. Some people are waiting on the Xbox version to come out in less than a week now. That's going to be some exciting times right there, and we're going to get a lot more flight simmers that are going to be joining the community and enjoying it. So for them, what they think they're going to like has been the question of the evening. So now that you're here, Sergeant Staff, what do you like to fly and why? Even I answered the question, so we've all answered the question, and we're just trying to figure out what everybody likes. "86 nautical miles to our next waypoint." So we burned off 90 nautical miles since the last position check, which was 174. Last position check was 174 nautical miles to our waypoint, and now we are at 84.6. I enjoyed a twin Beechcraft with the turboprops. Yep, like the BE-58. That's one of the ones that I flew at the very beginning too when I was flying, because I'm familiar with the Beechcraft, the 58. So that's a fun one to fly. I really enjoy flying the 58 as well. For a twin, it's really nice. I enjoy flying the Duchess in real life as a twin because it has counter-rotating props. A lot of turboprop airplanes, the props all turn in a single direction, like the engines. Both engines turn in the same direction, and the Duchess, they counter-rotate, so they turn into each other, which is a lot nicer if you have an engine failure. If you have a single engine failure on a twin, and the props rotate to the right, and you have a left engine failure, and your right is the only one that's active, that prop is turning, but the forces that are applied on the prop are now applied way out on this wing. So you get torque applied out there, and you have to stomp on the rudder pedal. I mean, you got to really stand on the rudder pedal to maintain straight flight. If you have an engine failure and the one that's alive is creating that torque effect out there. A Duchess doesn't have that problem. So if one fails, the props turn to the inside, and it doesn't matter what engine fails, the torque that's applied is applied towards the fuselage, and you don't have to stand on the rudder as much, which is kind of cool. Sergeant Staff, you'd be proud. The dude had a White Russian today, but the dude made an interesting White Russian today before his flight, as I was relaxing watching some Wipeout XL Australian version. I made chocolate shakes with Kahlua and Bailey's in them. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was amazingly good. I've made chocolate shakes with Kahlua in them before, and they're good. But chocolate shakes with Kahlua and Bailey's in them, that is absolutely amazing. I was going to put some vodka in there because that's in a White Russian as well, but I didn't know how that would fare with chocolate shake. I might try it, but the Kahlua and Bailey's, oh man, and a chocolate shake, wow. Wow, amazing. So you're so new, you don't really know which one is your favorite, right? That's the beauty, right? There's so many aircraft to try out. You guys like Parrot, when you get the simulator, when you get Microsoft Flight Simulator next week and you start playing it, give everything a chance, right? Just because you're not you don't have a good experience right off the bat, play around with it a little bit, because you may find something that that you really like for whatever reason, and you have a unique or interesting experience that is not very flavorful, and people tend to leave stuff alone when try it again, see what happens. Wow, that's looking gorgeous out there as we fly towards Glasgow. Oh, yeah, I don't know which one that's called. I think, no, Colonel Fork was flying to Widgeon, and that's not that little one that you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about, I just don't know which one it is. That's the one that little one that you're talking about, Sergeant Staff. That has the instrument panel, looks like a car. Yeah, there you go, the Icon A5. Yeah, it looks like a car, yeah. Yeah, easy to fly. I have to eat one of my in-flight snacks. Look at that little tiny baby blueberry muffin. This thing is so soft. It is so soft. And so tasty. Amazing. So much flavor packed into a tiny soft morsel like that. Mm. All right, let's see. About 57 miles to that waypoint. Just over 100 nautical miles to the Faroe Islands. It's about where we're going. So still a little ways to go. But we're going to start ticking off some waypoints here, though. There's a lot of waypoints coming up that we're going to be marking off. Oh, whatever. I got an auto mod message. Sorry. I went ahead and let it go. The auto mod caught it because you said Gaylord, Michigan. How stupid is that? Oh well. That's alright, auto mod. I don't have, so I don't have any. I don't have any moderators. I do. There's a friend of mine. You see him in here every once in a while. Preacher 97. He's a good friend of mine. He is kind of my quote unquote moderator, but I don't have one in here all the time. So I do the auto mod stuff to try to catch people from doing stupid shit. If I catch people from doing something stupid with the auto mod, then it's a lot easier to deal with than the alternative. And it's just the default settings. I haven't gone in and messed with anything on Twitch's auto mod other than enable it and say, yeah, just go ahead and do it. If the community grows and I've got more people in here hanging out and a lot of people chatting and stuff like that, then I'll solicit some of the people that have been around a long time to come and take care of stuff like that. There's people in your earlier stream saying that offensive W word. Yep, work. I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, I was sitting here thinking to myself, and I thought, work starts with W, but I don't know if that's what he's saying. So, but hey, you know what? It pays the bills, right? It pays the bills. It buys toys, pays the bills. It's looking a lot brighter out there. It was crazy. I was looking at this earlier. The aircraft, and I was looking at the sunset, and I was rotating around the aircraft, or the sunrise, and I was like, wow, look at that. You can see the reflection of the sunrise on the aircraft. That's crazy. Look at that. That's just insane. They did such a good job. Such a good job. But at what cost? Yeah, well, you know, you know, Sergeant Staff, I'll put it like this. If you find something that you really enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life. So I encourage you to find something that you really enjoy doing. And, you'll probably feel a lot better. I've been doing what I've been doing for 26 years now, and going on 27 years. And I love what I do. I really, really love what I do. I think it's one of the coolest things ever, and I have a lot of fun doing it. Yeah. All right. Well, I get that point too. COVID actually did me a favor in that respect, because I was working for a company uh, that I was with for a really, really long time. Well, I mean, a long time by my standards, I guess. But I worked with them for a long time, and they treated me really, really well. But I left that company because I was seeking another opportunity, still in my same career field, but I essentially left that company. They were a startup. They were a startup company, and I was with them for a number of years. And I left them to go to work for the fourth largest company in the world, doing the same thing that I've been doing for 26 years, because I thought it was going to be a good opportunity, it looked good. And I worked for them for like 2.5 years, and then in COVID they laid me off. And when the company that I was working for previous found out that I was sitting at home, they hired me back, and they were like, we want you to come back. We wish you would have never left. And I was like, cool. And, they made me an offer that I absolutely could not refuse. It was like the mafia. It was like, we're going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. And I was like, oh, you're right. I can't refuse that. So I went back. So for me, it actually turned out well. If it hadn't been for that, then I may still be, working there. And I didn't really enjoy that, but it was okay. But I really enjoy the work that I do again. So to me, it doesn't feel like I ever work. I get up early in the mornings. Sometimes I work late. Sometimes I work on the weekends. Sometimes I work at odd hours. But again, I really enjoy what I'm doing, and it doesn't feel that I ever work. It feels just the opposite, actually, and I enjoy it. So again, I encourage you to find whatever it is thrills you and do that. Yep, you sure can. You sure can. Wow, you repair slot machines? That's pretty cool, actually. I can relate to that because I'm like a maker, right? I got a big workshop and I make all kinds of shit, and I'm always tinkering with gears and stuff. And we've talked about, I've designed and wrote the code to generate these instruments and make the things on my touch screen, and I've built this G1000 and a bunch of stuff. But so I think that's pretty interesting. That's really cool. Now. That would be kind of cool. Casinos pay bank. Casinos pay a lot of money. I considered going to work for a casino. The line of work that I do is actually something that casinos could benefit from. Curtitus? Is that what it is? Curtitus? Awesome. Thank you, or should I just say Kurt? Thank you for joining the Aviators Club. We greatly appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I bet no 2 days are the same. That's exactly the same with me. No day, not even one day is the same for me. It's the same type of stuff, but no days are the same. Every day is different for me. And in over 26 years, it's never really been the same thing. All right, 4.6 miles to our first waypoint after leaving Iceland, Ratsu. And we are now going to start jamming waypoint after waypoint after waypoint as we make the approach. Let's go ahead and take a look here. And I'll pull up that for you guys. We're getting close. We're getting close to the coast. Passing the Faroe Islands, and I'm probably butchering the hell out of that because it's probably some Gaelic pronunciation or something like that to actually say what that is. And while I am of European descent, I don't know what the correct pronunciation of that would be. Not Scottish or Irish. Wow. So the casino you work at's reduced the size of... Oh, Preacher. Yo. Preacher. Welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard. The casino work has reduced the size of the slot tech department by 2/3. So they haven't reduced the number of slot machines they have. They've just reduced the size of the department. So you have 2/3 more work now, I guess is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Many years ago, many years ago, look at Captain Seppi, many years ago, when I was a college student working on my undergraduate degree, I worked for a short time at Chuck E. Cheese, and I fixed video games. And I would imagine that slot machines are probably just as bad as those, because the way children abuse a coin-operated ticket dispensing machine is probably about the way adults abuse a slot machine. Oh, similar but grosser? Really? Really? Grosser than a bunch of kids eating pizza and drinking sugary beverages around machines? Well, you know, I guess you got alcohol and stuff like that, but oh man, that's crazy. 2,800 slot machines slowly cooking themselves to death. Add alcohol and drug addicts. Oh man, yeah, yeah, that's got to be terrible. I thought working at Chuck E. Cheese fixing video games was all right, but you know, whatever. That wasn't. That was kind of a short-lived bit of experience on my resume. Although I do like to break out the diploma from Chuck E. Cheese University every once in a while, because they made the techs that fixed the video games, like I was. They made me go to Irvine, Texas, to the headquarters for Chuck E. Cheese for 2 weeks to learn their animatronic show. I haven't stepped foot in a Chuck E. Cheese for 20 years, but back then they had all the characters, Chuck E. Cheese and you know, Pasquale and everybody. They were all on stage, and they're driven by air, and they have a bunch of proprietary stuff that they've designed around that to have that show come to life. And they made you go to this class to learn how to, or to go to quote unquote Chuck E. Cheese University to learn how to repair that and to learn about it. So it was like an engineering / technical deep dive into the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. And in addition to that, they taught you management skills like budgeting and stuff like that, because the techs, we were able to buy stuff, but we had to use a store budget, right? So you know, when solenoids went bad, when switches went bad, when buttons went bad, when you needed paint to touch up stuff, or you know, you needed to buy more skee balls because somebody pocketed them and went out the store with it. You had to be able to work that into the store's budget, and they taught you a little bit about the business quote unquote finance side of it, which lasted, you know, like 3 days or something. But the rest of it was kind of engineering, so it was fun. And then just some basic electronics. There was like a day or two of basic electronics, because you had to have the skills to be able to repair the stuff. But for video games, I have no idea what's inside a slot machine. I've never been privy to that information, but I imagine it's kind of the same kind of things. You know, coin readers, cash readers. I mean, they had them that would take dollar bills. You know, keeping those clean, which is amazing how dirty money is, because those readers build up like a crap pile of gunk on them that you always got to clean off all the time. And that's what I found was amazing. I always was going around with Q-tips and an alcohol bottle to clean the sensors off the machines that would read $1 and $5 bills. but yeah, it was just a lot of that, but it was okay. I couldn't imagine 2,800 of them. We had a big Chuck E. Cheese store because I was in Tampa, so it was a really big store, and I think we had, God, we probably had like 40 video games, 10 skee ball lanes, about 40 video games, the animatronic show, and then a handful of other what they called mechanical games like whack-a-mole, you know, where you're hitting it. Those are mechanical type games, and they had about half a dozen mechanical games, and or maybe 8 or something. So there are mechanical ones, video games, and then some rides. There were some rides in there, but those are considered a different type of mechanical game, like the little airplane that just goes like this that you sit in, or whatever, the pony or something. But and I thought that was a nightmare. Holy cow! I thought that was bad. But I couldn't imagine 2,800 slot machines that that you got to keep on the road. That's crazy. Ah, specialized in bill validators. Yep. You find yourself doing a lot with button panels and now software things. Yep. You have the same problem there, I guess. The bill validators, the little sensors in there, they build up crap on them, and then they're not. Then you stick a bill in there, it just kicks it back out. You've got to go in there and open it up and clean all that stuff off. All those little rubber wheels get like crap all over them and stuff, and it's like incredible that money. I mean, you don't really think about that, but even like at Chucky, you know, that was like. You know, I guess we had like 4 or 5 of those bill machines that exchanged into tokens, and we were cleaning them like every week. Every week they had to be cleaned. It's amazing how nasty money is. Yeah, money is gross. You're right. Money is gross. All right, so we are 35.4 miles to our next waypoint, guys. We are finally within striking distance of throwing the North Atlantic behind us and being done out here. I'm excited. I'm excited to finally be flying. Now, here's what we might do, because well, it is we, because it's a community, right? It's a we. We stream in the evenings. 8 o'clock Central Time is when I start, 0100 Zulu. And I think when I get into Europe, when we're actually able to see stuff, I'm going to back off on the time of day. So right now we're flying. Right now, supposedly, this is what's really going on in the North Atlantic. This is real time. I've got it set to live, so this is what should be out there. But I think I'm gonna rotate it back. I'm gonna set the slider back so we can see some daylight, so we can actually see some of the stuff that we're flying over. I think that's going to be more enjoyable, because it's not going to be very very prudent, I don't think, to fly all the time in the darkness. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear as we go. But now when I do the DC6 stuff, I think we're gonna go back to the real deal when I do the DC6 routes and I start flying around the world. That's going to add another level of complexity to the DC6, and we're just going to have to deal with that. So when we find bad weather and stuff, we're just going to have to fly around it. We're going to have to find alternate airports. We're just going to have to deal with that the way you would deal with it. All right, who do we got? Aditya? Hello, I'm doing well. Europe upcoming, yes. Is it Aditya? Is that, can I say that? Or did I say that correctly? Aditya? And that need clean, yeah. But yeah, validators have belts that need to be cleaned, yep. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. Cool. Hey, thanks for coming here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being with us here. Yes. So, Aditya, essentially what we're doing is we're on an around the world trip with a TBM 930. We left central United States, Nashville, Tennessee, U.S., and we flew over to the East Coast, and we flew all the way up the coast, went across to Greenland and Iceland, and now we're coming to Europe. The goal or the concept behind this journey was to fly the coastlines of the world. So we will get to Scotland here, Glasgow, and then that's where our trip is going to end for today. And when we pick back up from here, we'll just continue flying the entire European coast, all the way down Africa, and then around the Horn of Africa, back up the east coast of Africa, India, Asia, down all around Australia, New Zealand, back up and through China, Japan, and Taiwan and stuff, all the way up to Russia, and then across to Alaska, where we'll fly the west coast of the U.S., down all the way through South America, and then around the bottom of South America and up the east side until we come all the way back. That is the journey here. That makes it a little unique, but one of the things that I brought up about a week ago, we are going to be introducing a new aspect to the Around the World with the release of PMDG's DC6 not too long ago. My dad worked for Douglas, did some stuff with them for a little bit, and then my sister was a Pan Am stewardess for a while, so I have the original route, or the original routes that Pan Am used in the 1950s, and I'm going to be replicating those routes. But also, Pan Am was the first airline to fly around the world. And not the first ones to fly around the world, the first airline to fly around the world, and the first one to establish commercial around the world routes. So I'm going to replicate Pan Am's around the world flight with a DC-6, even though they did it in a Clipper, which is a slightly different aircraft, because they did it in 1942. And I'm going to be flying the DC-6, which they got in the late 40s or early 50s, and they flew those exclusively until the late 50s, I guess. And I'll be flying routes from 1952. I'll be flying the Pan Am 1952 route map, and I'll be doing that around the world in a DC-6 with real weather and real time. So that'll be kind of interesting. But that's what we got going on. On Fridays, we do FedEx Friday. We fly FedEx routes out of Memphis, Tennessee, real FedEx routes with an A320 hauling cargo. And on Monday, we do Mileage Monday, which is just anything. No route, no plan, just fly. And it's usually a bush plane. And Sergeant Staff, one question, go for it. Am I gonna bless the rains in Africa? You betcha. You betcha I am. That was Toto, wasn't it? Did Toto do that? Did they bless the rains down in Africa? Yeah, that's what I thought, man. Yeah. Where's Toto? I have Toto around here somewhere. He's over here sleeping underneath the table. My Toto's underneath the table sleeping. Of course, I have a cat too. You guys saw him one time, although it was pretty funny. He hasn't been up here since. So my cat came up here a couple times and climbed up here on the desk, and he would climb up here, like right here where my hands are on the desk. You can see him by my instrument panel. Um, and technically that would be like right here as I'm looking at the plane. And he was up here one time. I was flying the A320. I was about 32,000 feet, and I was up here and I was petting him. He was standing here. You could see him on camera. He turns and just jumps off the desk, but it looked like he jumped out the window. It was pretty funny. And it was right after a bunch of people in the stream tried to make me do a barrel roll. They were like, do a barrel roll in an A320, and I tried to do a barrel roll in an A320, and like right after that, my cat just bailed, and it looked like he jumped out the window. It was the funniest thing ever. He hasn't been back to a stream since. Official morning. Hey, how you doing? Evening here. How are you? Doing well? I hope you're doing well. We are trying to leave Iceland behind us, and we're trying to get to Glasgow. Can't believe the size of the typhoon in China. I haven't seen the latest on the typhoon in China. Is it really getting big? I mean, it was serious not too long ago. I think it was probably yesterday evening when I looked at it, and it was not anything to play around with then. But is it really getting big now? Hopefully you can train the new guy, but not likely. I'm too valuable. Yeah. Let's take a look and let's see if we see something over here. All right, so actually you guys might want to see this. So let's see what we're looking at here. I'll pop this up. So I went over here and looked. So yeah, look, we have some segments here. So there are some observations. There are some observations here. So that looks pretty intense. But let's see what we got here for layers. And let's take wow. That's crazy, guys. Look at that. That is pretty big. That is pretty big. Wow, the top of that thing is 54,000 feet. $54,000 You can't fly over that. Nothing is going to fly over that. Yeah, let me see. Let's go look at Windy. See what Windy has to say about that. Look at that. Look at the movement. Look at the movement of air right there. Hey, Sergeant Staff, we'll see you. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. As we look more into this disturbance off the coast of Taiwan. Wow. Yeah. As you can see, you know, here, let's look at Taiwan. You know, not a lot of wind here. Not a lot of wind at all, right? Taiwan is actually seeing very, very little wind. But this is incredible, guys. I mean, this is crazy, right? Look at the clouds. And look at the temperatures. That's hot too. 82 degrees. 83 degrees near the center. That's just drawn in all kinds of heat. That's a lot of fuel there. And look at the waves. Look at the wave action it's generating. Right here, 14-foot waves. 29-foot waves with a period of 9 seconds. That's crazy. 22-foot waves with a period of 7 seconds. So this is the dangerous part, right? It's the period and the waves that that do a lot of damage. And the period is how many seconds before you get the crest of the next wave. So you have a 13-foot wave, and this 13-foot wave, imagine you're in a boat or floating, and the wave comes and you go up, and then you're at the peak of the wave. Then right there you count 1001, 1002, 1003. You're going down the backside, 1004, 1000. Okay, so that's an 8-second period. 1004, you're at the trough. You're at the very bottom in between two waves. Then 1005, you're going back up. 1006, 1007, 1008, you're at the top. You're at the crest. And a 13-foot wave, that's a pretty serious wave right there. So a 13-foot wave is going to move you twice the distance, 26 feet. So you'll be at the crest, and then you'll come down, and then you'll go back up. So that is like that's like intense right there. That's like really intense. Man, official. Thanks for bringing that to us. 29 foot, man, with a 10-second period. That's crazy. See, when usually big waves, I mean, they don't bother you if the period's like really, really long. You can have 30-foot waves, and you know, you can be in 30-foot wave action with, let's say, like a 30-second period, and those are just rolling big waves, right? That's going to take you 30 seconds to get from one crest to the other. That's not, oh, we're making a big turn here. Let's see what's going on. And just cut that off just so we can see what's going on here. We're turning a waypoint. All right. We're turning a waypoint as we head towards land to make landfall. Oh, look at that. Look at what I see there. Oops, you can't see it. I can see it on my instrument panel, but you can't see it on yours because I'm not zoomed in enough. There we go. Look at that. Synthetic vision has put landfall up there. You can see land up there. That's cool. It's way off in the distance, but it's there. That's cool. We're ending our trek across the barren North Atlantic, and just so you can kind of see where we are, that's what we just turned right there. So we're now 49 nautical miles from our next waypoint, and we'll be making landfall here shortly. And it's going to be cool because now we're going to be in Europe. Yeah, if that travels south and keeps growing, yeah, it could very well be catastrophic. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. Storm surge, flooding. I mean, those countries over there, that's a lot of devastation. You have a lot of homes. I mean, that is going to destroy a lot of people's lives. A lot of those people in Asia depend on the sea for food. They depend on fishing. They depend on farming, and large amounts of rainfall, flooding, storm surges. That's going wind. That's going to be devastating. That's going to be devastating for those folks, man. And I look at that, and that's just crazy right there. That's just insane. I never really thought about looking at it in here in the flight sim, because I'm not flying there, but I saw it on the news, and I was briefly looking at that yesterday. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a global thing. I mean, this has far-reaching effects, for a lot of people. Um, Taiwan, China. There's a lot of product that comes out of those countries. There's a lot of industry, and if it's not been bad enough that we have COVID and coronaviruses affecting so many people, so many countries, so much industry. Um, I mean, look at like some of the shipping stuff that happened when coronavirus started with China, and it was shutting them down, and they were having difficulty shipping stuff. I mean, we weren't getting any stuff in the West, right? When those container ships arrived and there was no more behind them, it caused some problems, and those problems, continue on, and this just compounds the problem. And Germany too, a lot of the flooding in Germany. I mean, I was looking at some of the flooding in Germany. That river swelled, and that was incredible. If you guys haven't seen that, they had put marks on the wall in this German village back like 100 years ago, where the 100-year flood line was, and this flood went well above that. It like dwarfed like whatever their all-time deepest flood was in this village. This was like way above it. I mean, I was looking at watermarks up on the third floor of buildings, and they've never had that before. They've never had that before. Yeah. Yeah, the UK. Well, the other interesting thing is, official there in the UK. I guess if you're in the UK, I don't know. You said here in the UK. I'm just assuming that you are, but the UK has been having crazy heat. Here in the US, out west, like in Seattle, in the northwest, the temperatures are usually modest out there as well. And they've had like some crazy temperatures. I'm here in the central United States, and it's been warm here too. I mean, it was 90 today. It's going to be 91 tomorrow. We usually have warm days, but it's usually not really this bad all the time. But yeah, I mean, things are certainly becoming interesting, right? So 25 degrees by 9 a.m. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, this is going to have a lot of effect too. I mean, we've seen over the last couple of years, even in some polar ice caps, where there's always ice, like in Canada and way up in the North Sea, where there's always ice. I mean, that ice is melting, and there they're starting to see new stuff. Like, now you can get boats in areas that have had ice on them as far as we know. They've always had ice on them, and now boats can get into different places. Yep. Yep. It's going to get crazy. We better find another planet to live on. All right, guys, we are within 100 nautical miles of land. We will see land in about 70 nautical miles, but it's an island. I'm not sure what that island is, but we will be land. We will see Scotland, I guess, within 100 nautical miles. And this is going to be exciting. This is really going to be exciting. I'm going to be glad to be out of the North Atlantic for sure. Let's take a look at our flight charts here. Got. All right, our arrival. Let's look at our approach. Let's see what we got here. All right, our arrivals. Let's look at our arrivals. And we are on the ERS, the IRSA 1G arrival. That one. Let's look at our chart. All right, speed wants to be max 250 knots below flight level 100, and the airport elevation is 26. We want to be at about 40, let's say at flight level 9,000 when we get there. Okay. So we want to be at 9,000 feet when we get to Earson. All right, so we'll be at the top of our descent, and we'll go ahead and start that probably. Let's go look online here. Let's go ahead and pull this up. And let's take a look at our sim brief. If that's still up. Uh-oh. Come on, reload. There we go. So where's our... So we want to be, when we're here, we want to be at about 9,000 feet. Oh, there's our top of descent right there. Okay. Lock ARCAG. That's going to be the top of our descent. So right after we cross Orslem, we're going to start looking at descending, and that should put us at about 9,000 feet when we get there. Okay. Looking ahead, always looking ahead, figuring out where we need to be, what we need to do, and so we don't get in trouble. All right, so let's see. Let me get caught back up in chat. Sea level is rising. Yeah, absolutely it is. Across the globe in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll be mind-bending. Yep. Well, you know, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Things are changing, that's for sure. And it's not going to be pretty. So you're counting down the day until you can get some hours of flying all over the globe. So are you official? Are you waiting on the 27th for the Xbox release? Oh, what do I see out there? Do I see another airplane out there? No? That's maybe the moon or something? I don't know. How are we doing on fuel? Yeah, we're down to about 50% on fuel, so we should be doing pretty good. Yeah, Series X. There you go. Yeah, they dropped the pre-download today. Absolutely, they did. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Parrot too. Parrot66 is one of our viewers, and they did the same thing today. They dropped. They pulled down the and did the pre-install today. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited, knowing that you guys are excited. That is really, really cool. That's really cool. I know that I love the game and I love flying. Microsoft Flight Simulator has allowed me, and I'm a real life pilot as well, but this has allowed me to see things that I'll never see. Like I'll never fly, a general aviation related type aircraft like a TBM is considered a really high-end general aviation aircraft, but I'll never do this and fly all around Europe or fly around the world or fly a DC-6 all around the world or an A320 or anything like that. Nah, but the scenery that Microsoft has been able to bring to the table and deliver with Bing Maps and the level of realism that they've added, is absolutely incredible. It's just absolutely incredible. Typically before this, I've spent a lot of time in flight simulators, and it's always to practice instrument related stuff. So you're never looking outside, right? You're always just looking at that. You're always like this, right? This is what your view is when you're in a flight simulator. You're doing this, and you can't ever see anything outside. As a matter of fact, if you're in a flight simulator, the windows are usually fogged over. They're opaque, so because there's nothing out there, you're just looking at this, and and they're tracking what you do. But the ability to have this and be able to look out and see, the things that you can see is just absolutely incredible. It's just really, really nice. And the visual effects, wow. I can't say enough about the visual effects when you see stuff like, oh, there you go. The effects are just absolutely amazing. Why did I lose my mouse? That's concerning. That's not good. How come I can't get back inside now? Wow. I have lost my control. I cannot get inside my airplane anymore. That's weird. This is most concerning that, let me see. Do my views change? Yeah, I can change my views. That's interesting. I wonder why. Huh, I wonder why that happened. Yeah, it's awesome. You got the premium deluxe. That's awesome. That's great. Just pumped. You get 4K, 30 to 60 frames per second. You got a 4K monitor or a 4K television? Yeah, it is going to be great looking. Oh, Colonel Fork, I can't reach my keyboard. Well, yeah, I guess I could. I could get up there and get to it. I was just trying to fumble away around here. That was something interesting. I've not had that happen before. Nice. And I think the insert key, I've got the insert key mapped to my yoke actually. So when I'm here, the insert key that I have here on my thumb does this. That's what the insert key does. It's reset position. I think that's the same as what you're talking about. If the insert key is reset position, I was hitting that button too, and it wasn't doing it. LK2 just got here. What have you not had happen before? Oh, I went outside. I did an outside view because I was sitting here looking at we were talking about the scenery and we were talking about the view, and we were kind of looking around, and I jumped to an exterior view and my mouse wouldn't work. Like, my mouse works here, you can see my cursor, but it wouldn't, like here, I can use my mouse to move this around, but of course I got tied to my headset, and outside it just wouldn't do anything. So when I hit the key to return back to the cockpit, instead of taking me back to the cockpit, it showed me the bottom view of my airplane. So I went back and I had the external top view of my airplane, like looking from the tail of my aircraft. And then I hit the return to cockpit and it showed me from the bottom, like looking up like this. So I was going like this. And I was trying to reset my view and it wouldn't let me in. I was like, this is not bad. This is going to be bad. And what I end up having to do is I came over here to camera and I clicked on cockpit. And when I clicked on cockpit, it popped me in, and then I was able to do it. So now I'm afraid to look outside. So where am I flying, official? I'm flying the TBM 930 around the world, but where I'm flying today is Glasgow. I'm flying into Glasgow. That's the destination. We were in Reykjavik in Iceland, and this completes our North Atlantic route. We're done. The North Atlantic's behind us. Now all the scenery, all the flying is going to have scenery, and we're going to see Europe now. For weeks now, we're going to be flying the coastline of Europe, and then Africa, and Asia and Australia, and then back up to Asia and China, Japan, and then into Russia and U.S., then Central America, South America, then the other side of South America, Central America, and then back into the U.S., and we will terminate this flight at that time. I do have multiple monitors, yeah. Yes. So our route is going to take us through the UK, and if I bring this up, you can see where we left, and we're just not going to go to Norway, right? We're not. We were going to go across like this and come down, but what we're doing is this. So we're here in Scotland, and we are going to be on the western coast of the United Kingdom, and then we will fly, you know, that way. Actually, if I bring up like Navigraph, right, and we look at Navigraph, so our route will take us, you know, like this. It'll take us in between Ireland and the United Kingdom, and then France and Portugal, and then essentially around Africa. So if you follow the cursor, then you know we're going to go around Africa like this, go around the Horn, come up the other side. So it'll be you know, through the Gulf of Oman, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, around like this, and then we'll go around Australia, back up the other side, Japan, and then we'll come over here and we'll follow the coastline down through Central America, South America, back up across the Caribbean, and then end where we started up here in Central America. As we come up the coast of Florida, we will be in the Midwest and the U.S., and we'll end there. Where we started from was here, and we flew up the coast all the way up to here, and then over to Greenland, and then we flew over to Iceland, and now we're coming down this way. So we're still early on. All right, and then let's see. I know with multiple monitors, if the non-Microsoft Flight Simulator monitor has focused in certain things, well, yeah, it didn't have focus. I actually had focus here on this monitor because I know what you're talking about. LK2 with the Stream Deck. If I change my views like this, so I have a Stream Deck profile, right, with my views in it, so I can do this: top panel, right top panel, left top panel, center panel, you know, center bottom. So the Stream Deck will only function if the panel, if Microsoft Flight Simulator is the focus, and that's how I change my screens, even from internal to external. And I was on the Stream Deck, so the Microsoft Flight Simulator was the focus, and I was sitting here trying to go internal, external, internal, external, and all it was doing was showing me top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom, which, you know, again, I've never seen before. As a matter of fact, when I lose focus, like if I move my mouse cursor over to one of my other monitors and click on it, the Stream Deck actually goes back to my default screen. So I have to dive down in it. It's like if I click over on another monitor and I look over at my Stream Deck, now I've got my default profile, which shows me my Twitch button, so I can get and do my Twitch functions, or I can give shout outs. Speaking of shout outs, here, let me do this. Colonel Fork is still with us, and if you guys have not seen Colonel Fork, then please visit him, because he's another great streamer. There's his stream link that I just posted in there. Please take a look at his channel. He does some really cool stuff: Microsoft Flight Simulator, iRacing, and some other stuff. But yeah, so when I don't have focus, I see all those other functions, and when I do have focus, it goes back over to the commands that I can use in Flight Sim. So that's part of that. All right, so there's the leg that we are on now. We've Orsum. When we get to Orsum, we're going to start our next waypoint. We're 62 miles from our next waypoint. When we get to it, we're going to start our descent. That's where we need to start our descent at. And land ho! Look at that. There's land out there. Awesome. Awesome. No more North Atlantic. So official. You're in the UK, yes? Yeah. LL2K. Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. You got me. It was really weird. And at first I didn't know what it was, because at first, you don't ever really look at the bottom of your aircraft, and the attitude that it was looking at it, it was just flipping it. So I was looking at the tail and the bottom, and it was flying like upside down like this. And I would hit the other way and I would clearly see, oh, that's the back of my airplane. Then I would hit it again, I would see this. I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? And I flip it back and then flip it back, and I was like, oh, that's the bottom of the aircraft. And it kept doing this kind of thing. But yeah, until I went up there and hit the camera and did it like that. Colonel Fork, are you leaving us? Oh no, or you're just saluting LK2. Anybody that lives in the UK, well, I see stuff out there. I see like villages and stuff. I see buildings. I see roads. I see a flashing light over there. Might be, that very well could be an airport, maybe, like right over there. Right there, yeah, could be. Yeah, look at that, lights. Yeah, my question was going to be, how inhabited is this northern part of the UK up here? I mean, Scotland, Ireland, is it like very, very inhabited? Is there like a lot of people out here? And I'll try this again. Watch. So let me see if going outside is going to have a problem again. All right. So there's the outside. Nope, my mouse works now. Okay. So the mouse didn't work before, and essentially what it was doing was the view was like this. And when I hit to go back inside, I was getting the same view. But imagine just flipping the airplane over where it's still pointed in the same direction. So it was going from this view to like that view, except my view wasn't changing. The airplane was staying right there, and it was just like flipping it over. It was like flipped over, not flipped over, flipped over, not flipped over. But yeah, you can see stuff down there. Look at that. There's lights and stuff. That's cool. It's like all along the coastline. Look at that. That is so cool. Yeah, the mechanic's view. Exactly. That is exactly right. It's the mechanic's view. Wow, look at this. Yeah, look at that over there. Red. Red light. I guess that's the red light district. That's so pretty. The sun coming up like that. Look at that. That's really pretty. And it probably makes a nice reflection on the plane. Yep. And I just can't get over the graphics in the game. Look at the reflection of the logo on the elevators. The detail is just amazing. Look at that. That's crazy. It just blows my mind. The drone view, I have my, I gotta get my Xbox controller, because that's how I control this view. Like this. That's pretty cool. The lens flare, that's pretty amazing. That's kind of cool. Oh, now I got a lot of light in here that I didn't have before. Even got some glare on the windscreen. Look at that. That's crazy. All right, we are 20 nautical miles from Orsum, so we need to think about setting up here for our descent. Which is going to be, when we get to Ursun, we need to be at 9,000 feet. So we're going to go ahead and start our descent here in just a minute. $17 nautical miles. It actually shows the top of our descent a little bit after Orsum, so do we see it on our map here? If we zoom in, will it show us? Okay. Zoom in here. It might show us. We'll see if the top of descent shows up on our nav chart. If it does, we'll start it there. If not, we'll start it about, we'll see, maybe about 5 nautical miles after we pass this next waypoint. We'll go ahead and start our descent. Set up for our descent profile and go ahead and start that there. All right, while we're at it, let's go ahead and get a check on our weather. So let's see what is, let's see what's going on in Glasgow. Echo Golf Papa Foxtrot. All right now the wind is 080 at 5 knots. Okay, not really worried about that at all. The altimeter is 1024 hectopascals. That I need to do a conversion for. So we're going to break out the trusty electronic E6 bean, and we're going to put in 1024, and 1024 is 30.24 inches of mercury. 30.24. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bounce up here on our panel to our barometer, and we are going to, even though we're above 18,000 feet, I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there right now. 3024. All right. That's going to lower us down a little bit, but as soon as we turn our next leg, looking at our map here, does it show our top of descent on our map? It should. No, it does not. All right, so it doesn't show our top of descent, but I'm going to go ahead and pop it in there now, and I'm going to take us down and set the altitude for 9,000 feet. Have a little bit of wind, maybe. No, we have a 4-knot tailwind, so that's not bad. Seeing that on the wind here, let me look at my PFD map settings. Let's see, that back. PFD settings. I want bearing and GPS is on 1, bearing 2 is nav. Okay. That's good. I'll take that. That looks good. All right. All right, we're set for 9,000 feet, and we will begin that descent here in just a few minutes. 25. Pearson is where we want to cross at 9,000, so we'll go ahead and start that now. Come on. All right, let's go ahead and start that now. See how that comes out. We need to shed 11, let's see, 12,000 feet is going to be 10, so 13,000 feet at, let's see, what's our ground speed? Take out the calculator again. Let's take a look at what we got. Conversions, go back, wait, flying, in flight, top of descent, ground speed, 302 knots. Ground speed 302. Indicated altitude 22,000. Target altitude 9,000 feet. At 1,000 feet per minute, we need to start 65.4 nautical miles out. All right, so we are, that's 50. Oh. No, we need to be more aggressive than that. $43 miles out. All right. All right, there we go. Rocking and rolling. We'll make it. All right. Set our heading bug just in case. Get that set up. Everything is going to look pretty good here. Can actually pull this back. I'm going to slow us down just a little bit. Reduce our torque a little bit. Pull our prop back a little bit. Let's burn off some airspeed and let's give us a little more distance. Let's give ourselves a little more distance. Hey, look at the river. Cool. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Scenery is amazing. Oh, actually, is that a river? That might be a lake. No? Yeah, I don't know. It might be a lake, actually. It's not a river. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Ground speed now, 313. Indicated altitude, 17,500. Target altitude, 9,000 feet. Descent rate, 22.1 miles. All right, we're going to be a little high still. Actually, we might not be too bad. At foil, we really need to be at 9,000 feet. So we're not going to be too bad. Let's double check this again. So now we're down to 300 knots. Indicated altitude 15.5. Target altitude 9,000. Descent rate 1,500. 20 miles. Yeah, we're gonna be pretty good. So right now it's 15,000 and we need 20 miles. All right, so I can actually bring us up a little bit, reduce our rate of descent. Let's say 1,300 feet. 23.1. Perfect. That's where we need to be right there. 300 knots. We're going to make our target altitude 2 miles before we need to be there. Maybe just put 1 in for good measure. All right, that's going to look good. We're going to look good on our altitude for our approach. Wow, look at that scenery. That is beautiful down there. The sun coming up. People are just waking up. We've been flying across the North Atlantic from Iceland. I need to go here in real life. All right, we're doing pretty good. Hey, Flight Sim Track is now hosting Captain Seppi and the Aviators Club. Sweet. Thank you. Much love, Flight Sim Track. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. All right, let's come back over here. Let's take a zoom in. Let's see where we are. I'll zoom it in closer. That's 10 nautical miles out right there to that arc from where we are. We need to be at 9,000 feet when we get to foil, and we're going to be well within that. So I'm going to reduce our rate of climb here a little bit. Man, that's pretty. Look at that. That is really pretty. Scotland, the Highlander. There can be only one. To 5. All right, the wind is coming out of 080. We can do the ILS for 5. That means we're going to have to pass the runway and come around. And we want to be at 2,400 feet for a glide slope. And is there anything that's in the area that's going to give us a problem? I do not see anything in the area that's going to give us a problem. So we will go ahead and fly and intercept for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in. and we're going to cross over the runway, and then we're going to turn a 205-degree heading, and when we get to, when the DME is going to tell us that we're at 10.3 miles, we're going to start a turn to the right to a 49-degree heading to intercept the ILS and bring her home. And all that too is available here. What I was looking at is I was looking at Navigraph, and this is where we're going here. And if we look at this is our arrival right here, and if we look at our approaches and we pick the localizer for runway 05, we look at our chart. Come on. This, when you're trying to do this in SimToolkit Pro, it doesn't always give you the best one. So that's the arrival, this is the approach, and the VOR, ILS, DME for runway 5. This is what I was looking at with the chart, guys. So we're going to be coming in from here, the way the cursor is. This is the way the approach is going to bring us. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to fly over the airport, and here's the arc, right? This is almost like a DME arc. What we're going to do is we're going to come over the airport on a 205-degree heading. When we get here at 10.3 nautical miles, that's when we're going to start our turn. And we're going to start our turn to a 49-degree heading where we're going to intercept the ILS, and then we're going to come back in. So our route right now, our heading is going to take us right straight here like this, and we're going to fly this, and we're going to turn, and we're going to come back and land. You know, and again, here's your direction of travel. Right here, the only obstacle we have is a 940-foot tall tower, and then another 455-foot tower here. But we shouldn't have any problem staying at 2,400 feet. So that's what we're going to shoot for. So here it is right here. We come in, we're going to be at 2,400 feet. Here's a 10.3 nautical mile mark, and then this is where you intercept the localizer and then take a glide path down to the runway. So we can do that. Of course, we could always land straight in like this. It doesn't matter. We'll see when we get here. We'll see what it looks like when we get here. All right, we're 7.5 nautical miles from foil. So that being said, we will, here we go. So let's go ahead and reduce our altitude. We got to be below 250 knots. We're at 247, so that's good. But I'll go ahead and pull the torque back a little bit, and I will reduce our throttle. Get rid of that. We don't need to see that anymore. Come back over here. This. I'll pull back the torque a little bit and get that reduced. A little less torque, a little less prop. Get our mixture rich. All right, we're below 10,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and cut our landing lights on. We were pushing 250, so brought us back a little bit. All right, come back over here. Let's zoom in. And the airport's going to be right below us. We're flying over the airport now. All right, we're gonna come over here to heading mode. We're gonna turn our heading. Wrong way. I didn't set our heading bug. Turn our heading over here to 205. Okay. Bring our altitude down to 2,400. Looks like maybe that's those towers. Yep, that could be very well be those towers right there that are on the chart. Right there. Look at that, they're windmills. Wow, those are windmills. That is crazy. That's what all those red lights were. They were windmills, guys. That's insane. And they're rotating. Look at all those windmills. And they're spinning. That's insane. All right, somehow I kicked VS mode out, so I didn't lose the altitude that I wanted to lose, so I'm going to extend down a little bit more. Just so I can... Oh, dang it. There we go. I'm going to extend the arc out a little bit more just so I can get this. All right, I'm going to start turning. All right, reading off our chart here, looking at that. Looking at where we are, we're making a turn. We can see the arc right there. That's forecasting where we're gonna go. Keep turning our heading a little bit at a time. Airspeed down to about 157 knots. That's good. Alright, roll out northerly heading here because the next turn we're going to make is going to be on 049 degrees. So roll out here and turn on 049 and intercept the let's see, approach VR5, ILS5. Wow, the airport's going to be right in the sun. Right in the sun. Let's zoom the map in a little bit to 2.5 nautical miles. Come back over here on our heading mode because now we're going to start turning to 049. 05. Let's see where we roll out. Alright, the airport should be right out there in front of us. We're off just a little bit. There it is. I see it. I see the blinky blinky. Alright, let's go ahead and get our gear down. Let's get another notch of flaps in. Adjust our heading a little bit to 049. Make sure we're right on it now. Need a little more throttle in there. There we go. Not that much. Looking good, Billy Ray. Nothing like landing into the sun, huh? On this wonderful trip to Glasgow. On 10.1. There we go. Just about on the glide slope. Little dots coming up there, little green triangles coming there, just about ready to hit it. And we're going to hit it, and I'm going to go ahead and set us down here. There we go. 500 feet a minute. That keeps us on the glide slope. We just stay lined up on the runway. And we're doing 93 knots. That's good. Our gear's down. We got 3 green. I got our flaps in for landing. That's good. Airspeed is good. We're on the glide slope. We are doing good. It's looking good. Runway's in sight. Lined up well. All right, autopilot's coming off. Got the airplane. Speed looks good. Reduce the speed just a little bit. Got a little bit of a crosswind component here, but not much. Little controls, little controls. Watch the runway. Over the threshold. Pull the throttle back. And just keep it on. Pull back flare just a little bit. And here we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Reverse thrusters, and keep your feet on the rudder pedal while you're doing that. Welcome to Glasgow. Glasgow. My chair was a little bit too close. When I went to engage my reversers, I ran into the arm of my chair. That made me move my foot on my rudder pedal. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's unfamiliar with the runway, so let's zoom in here and let's take a look, and you guys can kind of see that there. I've zoomed in on the runway. We're going to go ahead and cross this runway. Or is this a runway? Yeah, this is a runway. Don't stop. Well, I guess you can use it as a taxiway because it's got an exit here. So we'll just go ahead and use this as an exit as well because this is a taxiway exit. But it is a runway. And we'll just take this over to the terminal, which is over there. Yeah, because it's got whole short lines on it. Okay, so you can use this as a taxiway as well. Run this down here to the end. All right, now that we're clear of all the runways and we've expedited that, let's go ahead and get our airplane cleaned up. Raise our flaps. Get our landing light turned off. Leave our taxiway light on. There's the tower. Looking at our airport map here, so we kind of figure out where we're going to go, where the terminals are. All right, see that up there up ahead of us, so we'll do that. Nobody coming? Nobody coming. Nobody coming? Nobody coming. Okay. Hey, there's a car. Let's see what we want here. You know what? We're not going to take one of the big ones. We're going to take this little one down here. Stay off the parking apron. And we're just going to pull right up in here next to this. Park it right here. Just like that. Set our parking brake. Go ahead and clear our caution. We know the parking brake is on. All right, cool. Now that we're here, let's go outside and just take a brief look, huh? And there we go. So here we are. Actually, I should have parked over on the other thing, huh? I should have parked right over there. Let me see if I can move us a little bit. Park us in a better position. I'm going to actually go a little bit further down. There we go. I did it without bothering anything. I'm going to go just, I should have parked on that yellow line right there. The little T is where the actual nose wheel goes, but I'm going to go right down here to this one. This looks like a little bit nicer place to park. Right over here. Get our own big area right here. If we can keep that car out of the way. All right, there we go. Set the parking brake right here. All right, here we go. That's kind of cool. So here is Glasgow, guys. Let's look at the camera here. Let's take a look at what we have in Glasgow. There we go. Oops. I can never remember what these buttons are. There we go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I don't use the camera enough to. Oh, let me get rid of this. There we go. Here's Glasgow. I am so glad to be out of the North Atlantic and to be in civilization again. That was a long trip in the North Atlantic. There we are right there. Oh, I didn't turn our, there you go, turn our taxi lights off. Is it going to show them go off? No. But yeah, here we go. That's a pretty big airport too. That's pretty big. Beautiful. Beautiful airport. I like that tower. That tower's kind of neat. All right, back to the airplane. Let's shut it down. Let's open the doors. Yep, I know. Parking brake's on. All right, go ahead and shut her down. All right, before we can open the doors, we got to turn off the bleed system. Turn it off, turn it off. Bleed. There we go. Bleed's off. Okay. All the lights are off. Everything is off. All that's off. Reset these. Yep, I know. I know we're screaming. Go up here and look at the top. All right, we can turn this off. We can turn our autopilot off, turn our fuel off. We can turn all our lights off. They're off. We can turn our panel lights and everything off because we don't need those. And we'll leave our avionics on for just another minute. We'll go ahead and reach down here and unlock the door, and we'll open it. We'll reach down here and we'll open our cargo compartment out there, and we will is it not? It's not going to let me open that from out here. No, it's not going to let me. Not going to let me open the back door. But all right. Anyways, here we go. Turn these off. Yep, I know. I know the doors are open. There you go, guys. Welcome to Glasgow, and you know the doors are open. Feel free to move about the cabin. Let me see. Can I get back there like this? Nope, I can't get back there like that. I don't have a view. Oh, there we go. Is it gonna let me open that? I gotta unlock it. There we go. Now I can open it. There you go. Yay! Yay! We opened it. There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Here we are. Doors are open. Cargo doors are open. Everything is opened up. You can see the little door right there. Just kind of cool how everything opens up. Steps are out. Enjoy Glasgow, and we'll plan what the next flight is going to be. Not exactly sure where the next stop is going to be, but it's going to be somewhere down the coast. Probably in England. We may make a short run and just stop somewhere in the UK proper, in England, and do that. Let's see. I'll go ahead and hit the crash bar, and we'll go ahead and kill those, and that'll kill all our avionics and end our flight. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here with me. As always, you know, you guys really make the stream. You guys really, you know, it's a lot of fun when you're here. So thank you very much for being here, hanging out, especially on this a little bit longer flight across the North Atlantic here. You know, as always, much love to you guys, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Much appreciated. You guys have fun. Tomorrow's another day. Let's go enjoy it. There's going to be some great streamers. Let's go hang out with some of those. Colonel Fork, Fabio, Viper Strike, you know, all the good ones. Shoney Gaming is probably going to be on tomorrow. Captain Arash is going to be coming up here in a few hours. You know, B-Mint, Two-Tone Murphy. Man, there's so many great ones out there. You know, go watch those guys and give them some love and tell them hello from the dude, Captain Seppi. Share the love. Let them know that we're all one family. We're all hanging out, watching. Again, thanks. We're going to sign off. Thank you guys for being here. Great night. Again, much love. Captain Seppi. I am out of here.